Hi guys, this is Rishabh Kapoor from websofttutorials.com. In this video guys, I will show you that how can you apply form validations in PHP. You can see these form fields. We will apply the form validation on these form fields. First one is username, then password, email and phone number. I have created this form. Action is blank because we will I will write our code in the same file. So you can see method is post. First field is username, input type text, name equal to username, because in PHP the data is fetched with the help of this name attribute. Second is password, input type of password and name is password. The third one is email, input type of text and name is email. The last one is phone number, means phone, input type of text, name equal to phone. Last one is submit button. So let's begin guys. So firstly we will use the isSet function, means we will check whether this submit button is pressed or not. So we will use if isSet $_post, because we are using post method. So we will write $_post and the name of the button is submit. If isSet $_post submit means if the submit button is pressed, firstly we will check whether it is pressed or not. So we will write yes, means if the button is pressed, then we will print yes. Refresh. I will click on the submit button. You will see yes, means the button is pressed. Because the main purpose of using this isSet function is, suppose if I remove this function and I will directly use this post method to fetch the values of these form fields like username, it will return an error. You will see undefined index. So we will apply we use the isSet function, means if the button is pressed, only then it will fetch these values. If isSet $_post submit means if the submit button is pressed, then we will use username. Refresh, you will see no error message is here. So if the submit button is pressed, firstly we will take this value $_post username and I will store it inside a variable username. In the same way, $_post for the password field. So I will take this value password and I will create a new variable for this password. The third one is email. I'll create a new variable and $_post email. And the last one is phone. It is not mandatory that you need to create same variables of same name. You can use it rightly. You can give any name to it, like user, password, pass, email, and then num or phone. You can write anything. It is not mandatory that you need to you need to give this same variable names. We are creating variables because we don't need to write this post again and again. Suppose we are inserting data, so we don't need to write this $_post again and again. We will use these variables. Last one is phone. Now I will echo this, all the variables, means values of all the variables. Echo. Now refresh, we will enter the values. Rishabh, password, you can write anything. Email, rishabh337@gmail.com, and then anything. You can enter anything. Now Rishabh, this is my password 12345. Rishabh337@gmail.com is my email address, and then my phone number, means it is working perfectly. Now I'll remove this echo. Now we will apply the validations here on it. So firstly we will apply the validation on this username field. So firstly we will check whether this is empty or not, means if somebody will leave it blank, it will return an error. So I'll write if user, we will use a inbuilt function of PHP which is used to check whether the value is empty or not. So the name of the function is empty, and function brackets, and in between these two brackets we will write the name of the variable which we want to check. If empty user means if the username is empty, we will print echo please enter username. Now refresh, please enter username. You can see if I'll enter, nothing will be happen, means we have entered the username. If I leave it blank, it will return this message. Guys, if you don't want to print this message here, means if you want to print this message some other place, like after the sign up button, what do you need to do? You need to create one more div tag. You can create a div tag or any element like p element. I'll give it a id of message, and I will set its style color to red, means I'll give it a id of error message, means you can set its CSS. Now we will use the isSet function here. Firstly, what we will do, we'll create a variable msg, and I will store this message inside this variable. Now we will use the isSet function. So firstly we will use the PHP tags. So we'll use if isSet message, means if something is inside this variable, means if some value is inside this variable, only then we will echo it, echo msg. Refresh, you will see please enter username, means it is here. We have used PHP tags and we have used isSet function, means if the value of this message variable is set, only then it will display this message. Now we have checked the username, that whether it is empty or not. Now we will check the in the same way we'll check password, email and phone number. So we will write else if statement, else if empty, means if the password field is empty, then we'll store inside message please enter password. Now else if, in the same way we will use this empty method for the rest of the form fields like email and phone number. So we will check the email, means if anybody will leave this form field blank, then it will return an error message. If email is empty, then I will store some message inside this message variable, please enter email address. And the last one is else if empty, this is phone number. If the phone number is empty, then message equal to please enter your phone number. Now we will check please enter username. If I'll enter username like Rishabh and I will leave this password field blank, you can see please enter your password, means we are using if else if statement. But guys, you can see, suppose I have entered something and now it will display please enter your email address, but you will see it will make all the form fields blank. Guys, this is happening because we are using a server-side language, means you can see when I will click on it, it will refresh the page. You can see at the title bar it is refreshing the page, means it is going to the server, it is checking whether it is empty or not, then it is coming back. That's why it is making it empty. So guys, in order to get rid of this problem, you can use JavaScript form validations with PHP form validation, because JavaScript is a client-side language which will check your form data on the client side, means it will not go to the server again and again, and it will not make these all form fields blank. But guys, it is recommended that if you are using a submit button, then you should use both PHP and JavaScript validations. Means uh, you should not use only JavaScript validations if you are using a submit button, because if somebody will disable the JavaScript of his browser, then he can uh, enter some blank values to your database. So this is the topic of JavaScript, and I don't want to get into the JavaScript today. Now after this, we will apply the validation on password field. Means we will check whether the password length is 6 characters long or not. So we will use a string length function for this. So I will use create a variable pass length, pass length for password length. So I will check the password length here. I will use string length function strlen, and then I will write this variable here, because the password value is inside this variable, or you can directly write this. Means it will return the length of the password text box. So we will check it here after this. Else if pass length is less than equal to 6, means if the length of the password is 6 or less than 6, it will return an error. MSG equal to password should be more than 6 characters long. Now we'll check this validation. We will go to browser and refresh it. Now we'll enter the username and password of 2 characters. Password should be more than 6 characters long. So now we will enter more than 6 characters password. You can see it is not returning the error of password field. Now it is going to the next field and it's returning the error of this email. Means you need to enter the email address. Now we will validate the email field. Means if somebody will enter wrong email address like this, rishabh@gmail, this is a wrong email address because we haven't entered .com, or somebody will enter some wrong email address like this, Rishabh, I don't know, it's a Gmail ID or Yahoo ID. So we will validate this email address field now. So guys, to validate this email text box, we will use an inbuilt function of PHP, and the name of the function is filter_var. So we will use after this, if empty email, we will use else if statement. So name of the function is filter_var. It's not filter, it's filter_var. Guys, filter_var means filter_var function filters a variable with the specified filter. Means it will filter a variable with the specified filter. I will show you what it is. It is a function, so these are the function brackets, and the first parameter will be the variable which we are going to filter. This is the email, and second parameter will be the filter which we want to apply. Means the filter which we want to apply. Here are some filters in the PHP, like some filters I use to validate the email address, some filters I use to validate the URL, some filters I use to validate the integer values. Means it will check whether the entered value is integer or not. In the same way, the email filter will validate, means it will check whether the entered email is valid or not. So we will enter it's filter, it's not filter, it's filter underscore validate underscore email. So this is the filter. Means if you want to check whether the entered value is integer or not, so you will write filter validate integer. If you want to check the email, apply the email filter, you will enter filter validate email, and we will use the not operator here. Means if it is not able to filter the email address, then it will return an error. So we'll enter msg equal to please enter valid email address. Now again we will go to browser and we will refresh it. Now we will enter the username and the password more than 6 characters. Now we will enter the wrong email address. You'll see please enter valid email address because we are entering a wrong email address. Again we will enter a wrong email address like rishabh at gmail dot or I will enter rishabh at gmail. Please enter valid email address, means it is filtering the email address correctly. Now guys, you can see the form validations have been applied. So in the end we will go to else block. We'll write else, means if everything is fine, there is no error in the form, it will go to this else block, and in this else block you will write your query. Means if you want to insert something in the else block, you will write MySQL query and then insert query here. Insert into means you will write your MySQL query here. Means firstly it will validate the form, it will check these validations, and after that if everything is fine it will come to this else block. So we will print a message here. User is registered. I'm echoing this message. You will write your MySQL query here. So I will write Rishabh, password, a valid email address, and then phone number. User is registered. We will write this message in a better way. So I will create one more variable and I will give it a value of SMSG, means if the value is submitted, submit message. So we will create one more p tag here. So I'll write PHP tags inside these p tags, and I will use if set function of PHP. If the value of this message is set, means if this variable is set, so we will echo it. And I will set the style of this p tag, so I'll set it to style equal to color green. Now again we will go to browser and refresh it. Now username, password more than 6 characters long, a valid email address, and then phone number. You can see user is registered. It means you will enter your MySQL query here, like MySQL query, insert into table name, then you can put this MySQL query inside if statement. Means if the MySQL query is working, I'm not writing full MySQL query, means if the MySQL query is working, then you can write message here. User is registered, means if the query with data will be inserted, if the data is inserted, then it will return this message because we are echoing it out here. So this is the right way to put form validations and inserting the data or selecting data. That means in this way you can apply the form validations in PHP. So guys, if you still have any question, you can go to my discussion forum or you can leave a comment below. So thanks for watching this video guys. Don't forget to subscribe my channel to get recent updates about my videos. Let's see the next tutorial.